Welcome back. I'm JR Judy, and I went to climb Mount Everest just to enjoy a nice diet soda.
And I am The Wade, and we are the greatest tag team of the 21st century.
Yes, we are. Yes, we are. Now, we went over on time a little bit, just a little bit, because obviously 10-minute videos. We got excited for you guys.
Yeah.
But now we're going to go into the month of March. And really from March, the big news. Actually, you know what? We can't go to March yet. Because we didn't finish February. We didn't finish February. We forgot NXT.
That's right. The end of the travesty that Vince liked to call ECW, resulting in Ezekiel Jackson becoming the last WWE ECW champion, and in its place, a revolutionary new concept for a TV show, my friend.
It was NXT, rookies and pros paired together. 8 NXT rookies paired with 8 WWE pros, and the most talked about rookie on season number 1 was the American Dragon, known as Bryan Danielson.
That's right, my friend, Bryan Danielson. Daniel Bryan, as they call him, mentored by,
at the time, the United States Heavyweight Champion and one half of the Unified Tag Team Champions, The Miz. It was The Miz and Daniel Bryan. You also had guys like Wade Barrett, like Justin Gabriel, Heath Slater. Seems sound familiar. We'll get to them in a little bit on this show. But you had a great lineup of superstars, and the beauty of it was they were taking WWE pros to the limit. Daniel Bryan took the World Heavyweight Champion Chris Jericho on the debut edition of that show to the limit. And it really revolutionized and set that show in motion. And it became, sci-fi's most talked about show. And then we'll get into later on that. But now we can move into the month of March. As NXT continued to build steam, the WWE was building towards WrestleMania. And TNA was looking to answer back. And on March the 8th, Total Nonstop Action Wrestling made the move to Monday nights. And how do you kick off a Monday night debut? With the debut of Mr. Monday Night, Rob Van Dam. He defeated the Icon Sting, but that wasn't the big news. The big news, for the first time since 1999, in the United States, Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair faced off in the ring. Tag team matchup, Hogan and Abyss, Flair and AJ Styles.
Oh, yeah.
A little bit of Flair bleeding.
A little bit.
And that would, of course, help build the Monster Abyss to an eventual title shot at Destination X with the World Heavyweight Champion AJ Styles. And again, even with Hulk Hogan's Hall of Fame ring, AJ Styles defeats the Monster Abyss.
That's right, and at this same time, we have the Icon, Sting, starting to go off on a little bit of a rampage, JR.
On March the 8th, it was Sting who grabs Dixie Carter, the president of TNA, by the throat, and begins saying the winds of change in TNA are about to change. Something is about to hit the fan in TNA. And lo and behold, we now know what happens. And maybe Sting was right.
Perhaps he was.
We'll get back to that a little bit later. But WrestleMania was the big talk. 2 big matches were signed in the month of March for WrestleMania. Not only did Edge decide he would face Chris Jericho for the world title, but Bret Hart fakes an injury and then gets Vince McMahon to agree to the match. 13 years in the making. Bret the Hitman Hart and Vince McMahon signed for WrestleMania.
That's right, JR. What a match. The whole Hart family in attendance outside the ring. And what was basically a squash match of Bret Hart beating the holy hell out of Vince McMahon.
Listen, you're jumping to April. I'm just talking about the build-up for it right now. You're getting way too excited.
Hey.
This is the Revolutionaries. We're trying to win a Revolutionary later. You need to focus. Hey! Speaking of matches set for WrestleMania, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker set the date for WrestleMania. And Shawn Michaels agreed to put his career on the line just for one more chance at The Undertaker.
That's right, JR. The streak, 17-0 at the time, versus the career of one of the greatest icons of all time, Shawn Michaels.
Now, just so we don't run out of time, we're only going to do April, but it's a big month because WrestleMania 26 took place Chris Jericho retains the world title. John Cena regains the WWE title. It's the debut of the We Hate Cena guys. And of course, the big main event, Shawn Michaels and The Undertaker, no holds barred, must be a winner. One of the greatest matches of all the times.
Of all the times.
And in the end of the day, The Undertaker puts Shawn Michaels to rest. The career is over of Shawn Michaels. The following night on Raw, a very emotional Shawn Michaels retirement. And we heard the unfortunate news that Shawn Michaels has left the building. But there's also a little bit of change in the WWE at that time. Because the All-American Jack Swagger won Money in the Bank after a little bit of fumble with the briefcase.
Yeah, after about 10 to 15 minutes of trying to get the briefcase off of the hook there.
Technically, Jack Swagger wrestled 2 matches. He wrestled a Money in the Bank ladder match, and then he wrestled the hook. Nonetheless, Jack Swagger won it. And knowing he had to make a big impact to make up for it, Jack Swagger took his first opportunity. He cashed in on Friday Night SmackDown. At the time, Jack Swagger was a Raw talent. We thought he was going to cash in the night after on John Cena. Instead, he cashes in Friday night on Chris Jericho and becomes the World Heavyweight Champion. Whew. And, you know, a little bit of breath of fresh air on SmackDown with Chris Jericho being injured. And we had Jack Swagger as the Heavyweight Champion of the world.
That's right.
Other side of the coin. Down south, it was TNA. And it was Lockdown. The all-steel cage pay-per-view.
That's right, JR. One of the best pay-per-views of the year.
Double main event. AJ Styles defended against the Pope. The 2-month build-up. Can the Pope finally become the world champion? We thought he had it. It looked like the Pope had AJ Styles beat. AJ Styles pulls a pen from a cameraman. Stabs the Pope in the eye with a pen. Any way to win for AJ Styles. He retains the World Heavyweight title. Heartbreaking loss for the Pope.
Despicable.
It's AJ Styles. And then it was Team Hogan versus Team Flair inside the cage. Lethal lockdown. And Eric Bischoff was the wild card. We didn't know whose side Eric Bischoff was on until he entered the cage at the end of the night. Brass knucks in hand. And sucker punched Ric Flair.
Oh, yeah.
And then the Hogan and Bischoff regime reigned supreme. Or so we thought. Because the next Thursday on Impact, it was going to be a Lethal Lockdown return match. But this time, there was a surprise partner for Team Hogan. The return of Samoa Joe. Samoa Joe had been kidnapped in February after his Against All Odds matchup. No one had seen him. And then he returns to completely run through Team Flair and leaving everyone questioning what was Samoa Joe's motive. And then the biggest news. AJ Styles put the world title on the line on Impact against Rob Van Dam.
That's right, JR. And what was an incredible match on Impact. The World Heavyweight Champion,
AJ Styles.
AJ Styles. I know.
Here's dramatic pause.
Dramatic pause. Yes. AJ Styles put the title on the line in the match. And was he successful, JR? No,
he was not.
No, he was not.
Because Rob Van Dam became the new World Heavyweight Champion. And a new chapter was born in non-stop action wrestling. Guys, we've hit the first 4 months. You know what comes after April? Good, because I really don't know. But we'll be right back on the Wrestling Evolution. And he's going to count. And we're going to figure out what month we got next. We got May and June next. And let me tell you something. June, it's a pretty loaded month of stuff. We're right back on the Wrestling Evolution. Don't go anywhere. No, seriously, don't go anywhere. Don't